Alright, welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, Classics, Known Classics. This is episode number 35, 38, and Doubleshot 34, 32. Got two Justice League related trades. They're both miniseries, released alongside the main flagship title. Yet it's one of these mini spin-offs of the main Justice League title. First we have Justice League Dread, which when I initially heard about this particular series, I thought this was going to be ongoing. Because, it's new Justice League title. Instead, it got ended after 6 issues, and then it became sort of concluded as a mini-series. Despite the fact anybody can read it, this could have been ongoing. But I'm guessing it probably didn't sell too well. That's probably the reason we acted the 6 issues. Written by Sada, which I think this might be the first book he wrote for DC that I know of. Because I mostly have very Marvel stuff. So mostly for this one, we have Red Tornado. Actually, first starts out with Simon Boz, the Green Lantern, a character which it seems like a lot of the time since he made his debut in Jeff Johns' Green Lantern, it seems like, he's one of those characters created by a popular creator at DC Comics where half the people working at the company do not want to use him at all. They use Jessica Cruz, no problem, but Simon Boz, nope. You know, another one who liked this? Duke Thomas, aka The Signal, a character created by Scott Snyder, and it seems like nobody a lot of the time wants to use him. They don't want to feature him for reasons. He's part of Bat Family, but he's not featured in any Bat books currently. Is he retired? Not that I know of. But he's basically going to get this red single on his card, and then goes to this mini storage unit in space. He flies into, and it's red. He goes inside and runs into Power Girl. Yes, Power Girl. Which, of course, they get a holographic message from Red Tornado there's this conspiracy and we need you to investigate it. They go down to South America, fire a robot, turns the thing was actually just a planner. And then during the court, basically our next plan is to go rescue Red Canary, a original character who debuted in the last several years. And during this period of time, they recruited Cyborg and freaking Deadman, who people can see now for some reason. I thought the purpose of Deadman was that the only people know he's there is when he possesses people. Here, he does not possess a single person. I'm like, how in the world could people see him? He's a freaking ghost. That, by far, was never explained. You're thinking, what's up with the Red Tornado hologram? Well, they do unveil that. Apparently, he has been disassembled. Also, apparently, one mission he has them do is to go kill Black Adam for reasons. And they don't really kill him, per se. Oh, by the way, the outfit Power Girl wears here on the cover, it's technically her rebirth. It's technically her Dawn of DCU costume, kind of. This is her costume from her recent short-lived ongoing that she had that they kept on her, which, smart idea. It's sort of a slight redesign of the popular version of the outfit where it has the boob window. Yes. But this book was interesting what it was. I give roughly a 9 out of 10. For those of you curious about Red Canary, who created this woman? Is she Rich Garrett's book? I don't think so, no. Red Canary, aka Senya Song, she is a creation of Joshua Williamson. She debuted in Dark Crisis. Yeah, where after she appeared as a recurring character in Green Arrow, in Joshua Williamson's Green Arrow. It's going to be issue 10. She was there for from issue 10 up until the final issue of the book, final issue of Williamson's run. She appeared a little bit during Dark Crisis, issue 3, 5, and 7. A couple of the one-shots, issue Absolute Power. I think I remember correctly, I think this is her most recent appearance, because she appeared in the opening issue of Single Limited. Yes. Also, the big thing about this book was the Justice League cannot find out about this team. Nope, they cannot. Yeah. So, is there any special cameos? in this book? Well, we do have the Trinity here. There's some parademons. We get Trigon him here. Yeah, he appears in this book. Oh yeah, and also the Church of Blood is here, except we're renamed the Blood Tabernacle. Yeah, I thought that was a little weird. Also, there's allusions to the original Earth 2. Yes, the original Earth 2, which I'm a little surprised they actually brought that up here. Also because they show up basically Power Girl's parents. Like, is there like basically a placement of this particular miniseries? So they have basically this plant Vira, which appears in this book. That first appeared in the issue of Lobo. Yeah, then also apparently like Richard becomes corrupted and they have fighting him, though he does give form at the end of the miniseries. And they kind of wrap it up there. And basically the big thing with this book is that it teases KO. Yeah, that's the big thing about the end of the book. It teases KO. Kind of a very interesting book. Now, I get why they're doing Cyborg, because like, if you read this book, you would think like the characters probably said I probably want to feature in here. I'm sure you want to feature Boz because Boz is Muslim. Okay. Power Girl because we need a strong female on the team. I'm sure it was planned. I think the only character I kind of felt this though probably was probably put in. I'm guessing because of editorial mandate. I'm guessing it was Cyborg. I'm sure he probably was not pre-planned in this book. That's my guess. I don't know, but I kind of felt as though he didn't necessarily fit with this particular team. Dead Man in their hand. Yeah, his inclusion theme was weird because he's a magical character. Why no feature character featuring people who use suit powers? It makes no sense. His whole thing with the book was really weird. Like, people can see him, even though normally people don't see him. It's weird. My guess is it's probably a continuity error on the part of Son of Alvin. Next up we have is this miniseries, which I did not read this when it came out. This I did. I read the first 4 issues when they came out, but I fell behind. This book, I did not get a chance to read this book when they came out, but I did get a chance to read this trade here. This is Cheetah and Cheshire Rob the Watchtower. A very interesting miniseries, and this is also 6 issues, and this is done by Greg Rucka and Nicola Scott. Yeah, and also, I do appreciate, though, they do use, I think this is Liam Sharp's design for Cheetah. Yeah. Also, this book, Cheetah does shut up, basically, where she's not wearing anything at all. And then, for some random reason, Nicola Scott put her in clothes. Even though that half the time she's wearing clothes anyways. So, we start with some blood. And it's because there was a dissection happening. We have somebody eating something, I think it'll be very clear. And who is this, you might ask? It's the Cheetah. Yeah, Barbara Minerva Cheetah. Yeah, she is eating corpses for reasons. It's like, yeah, and then we see her basically, she's fully clothed. She just is near some guy and just, she's like acting a bit irrational. And then we see Cheshire out of costume, looks like she's dealing with some rats. And then, of course, basically, we cut to, get this, Wolfman & Co. Chemicals. Yeah, appreciate Greg Rucka basically doing a nod to the awesome Marv Wolfman, who is still alive and kicking. Thank you for that. Peter Marsden, Marsden Electronics. The Marsden is probably a nod to William Marsden, the guy who created Wonder Woman. The Peter thing, I'm not sure. He probably threw it because probably why not. So she's trying to rob this warehouse with these. I don't know. They think these are I think it's Hive, but the suits are weird. And then of course that she sliced them all up, and then goes to the office, runs into the Cheetah. Yep, runs into Cheetah. Oh, by the way, in Greg started his run for Wonder Woman, he did basically cure Bar Minerva of being Cheetah, and then in the final issue, he basically mirrored Cheetah once again. My guess is because, and this is my personal theory, he probably did that because, in the case of curing her, probably something new for her to do. He probably turned her back into Cheetah, probably because he was leading the title, and probably also because they give other something to do with her. That's presume my part, anyways. So Cheshire and Cheshire and Cheetah work together, and of course Cheetah eating something, and of course basically it's like, of course he asks about Leanne, who is a teenager now, which she does be in the book, and of course basically they want to rob the Watchtower, and they need some recruits. So who we go hunt for basically recruits? Well, then we cut to, I think this is I think it's either Cheetah's or actually this is actually Cheshire's apartment, because Leanne is there. I can tell because it's the blue hair, because that was something that I think it was Ram V who brought her in. Thank you, Ram V, bringing her in. Bait to Catwoman. So they put a team together. Leanne is sort of involved, but not really. And my guess is the reason why that. Sorry about that. My guess is probably the reason why that Cheetah is wearing her outfit now, wearing clothes, probably because she's not out in the field. If she's basically out in the field, she will basically take things off because it's Cheetah. Why not? Also, the artist Nicola Scott, probably because basically the reason why that he probably agreed to do is because it's Cheetah, and I think this is I think it's sort of a slight redesign. I don't think this is Liam Sharp's look. I think this is Nicola Scott's redesign for Cheetah, where they agreed to work together. And well, let's go recruit people. First is Hazard. Those of you curious, who is this character? She is a character from pre-Flashpoint. This is her debut appearance in this continuity. She is a creation of Roy Thomas. She was on Enemy Infinity Incorporated, so they bring her in. So, why not? Hell, the jackpot, of course, and then Cheetah recruits Keller and the Witch Boy. And, interesting that he goes with this look now for himself because, okay, he's a creator of Jack the King Kirby, but guess who brought him to this continuity? And Vicente. Yep, in a short-lived comic book. Lasted 6 issues. So he's recruited with Tika the Cat. Though at least basically I do appreciate Nicola not drawn very feminine like it kind of was during the end of the book who the artist was. So she's recruited. Also, she is acting really weird. And then they recruit this brand new character in Hub City. Let's see, who was this girl here? I guess this is issue number 2, I think it's 2 or 3. Let's see. Because last issue they brought in. Okay, this is Featherweight. You probably now this is another character made debut in this book, just like in the case of Hazard. Yes, Becky Sharp. Yeah, both made debut in the previous issue. So Those are thinking about Featherweight, though last issue was basically her debut appearance. Issue 2, as this is. So, the thing with Featherweight is Ella Renko. She is the daughter of Nissa Renko, which makes her Damian Wayne's cousin. Yes. So, apparently, they say here that she's a transgender woman. Okay, not sure why. Yeah, they made Damian's cousin transgender. By the way, second cousin introduces Damian, and both of them are women. So it's like, Ty gives birth to a boy. Nissa gives a girl. Myra, who only appeared now, who is her parent? Might I ask? They never confirm who her parents are, except the fact that Roz is basically. So, her father is. It's Roz's son. Yeah. So we have 2 second generation characters, actually 3, because Becky Sharp is another multiracial character because her grandfather was Stephen Sharp, who made his debut in Superman Giant #2. He is known as the Gambler. He made his original appearance in Greenland #12 back in the 1960s. You're probably thinking, does Stephen Sharp in this book? No. Actually, he does appear in issue 2, probably in Flashback. The only book he appearance in was probably just Hawkman. Yeah, toward the end of the book. So, they recruited, and, well, let's go basically break into Justice League Watchtower. And we bring the team together. And Cheetah is basically hanging around Leanne. And of course, basically, we got Featherweight because of a joke, because I'm obviously small. Please call me Al. Aliyah is a very beautiful name. I ask, what do you do? I'm really sorry. Renko, what do they name? My mom tried to kill Superman a while back. She's not a bad person. I mean, this is quite interesting, though. With the exception of Cheetah, Cheshire, and Caloran, all the rest of these characters are offspring of basically, or relate to someone famous. Aaliyah is one of Roz's grandchildren. Becky Sharp is a granddaughter of a C-list villain. Of course, you have Leanne here, obviously, who's Jade's daughter. So, they're basically studying something called the Power Bank. And this is related to Absolute Power stuff. So, also love this page here of all the classic villains. Brainiac, Reverse Flash, Solomon Grundy. Love it. Like, this is really good in the part. And of course, basically that. Oh yeah, and they have to go up the Watchtower. There's a mention of Wally. Yeah, this is Wally because Barry's lost his powers. So basically, they go find a way to break into the place. They go to the Ferris aircraft. So. By the way, we do have Leanne hanging out with Aaliyah, which I find quite interesting. And then, by sheer randomness, we have an appearance by Dan DiDio Creation Sideways in a quick cameo, because why not? And then Caloran attempts to basically persuade Black Adam, Solomon Grundy, Papa Midnight. You're probably thinking, who's that character there? Oh, we'll get back to him. He's a Wonder Woman character. Papa Midnight. Classic John Constantine villain. By the way, John Constantine is not here. So, they got this. They gathered a bunch of stuff for this particular job. And of course, basically, Cheshire and Cheetah have a spat, and then of course, Caloran teleports. I think this is Becky off someplace. And then, this is really, really weird. So, by sheer randomness, we have a page where we feature I kid you not, Misfit Bunker, yes, Bunker, who last appeared in Red Hood Outlaw number 36, Vixen, and Flex Metallo. These 4 individuals. He's a creation of Grant Morrison, which I think this was his first post. Actually, no, he did appear on Cyber Doom Patrol. Misfit. Gail Simone created her, and she previously appeared on pages of Batgirl. Last time I saw her, Vixen, classic character. Bunker, of course, I looked up. He had not been seen prior to this comic in 6 years. And then we see Ilea, we see Fire, Captain on Fire, so it's terrific, Metamorpho, Black Lightning, Dr. Fate, this of course is Khaled. Oh yeah, and then we see Renee Montoya, and then we see by sheer random this Wonder Woman Batman, and then briefly we have a panel where we have Jaime Reyes and Renee Montoya talk to each other in Spanish. Not a bad idea for Rucka to do that, because after all, they're both Hispanic, so of course basically these two will speak each other in Spanish. Though yes, Jaime is from Texas, and in the case of Renee Montoya, she's from Gotham City. But nice for Greg Rucka doing that. I praise for that. And of course, basically, Blue Beetle's appearance here is nothing more than a cameo. Also, for some reason, Nicole, the way she draws one, which I'm sure this whole thing of drawing her, yeah. Though, of course, she's the one who designed this costume. Of course, basically, she would... the way she's drawn here, it's like she's drawn like the covers of Legend of Wonder Woman miniseries. That's the way she looks in this book. So, and then Leanne comes in because she somehow got membership, so people think she's actually sideways, but she's not. And then we have the Challenge the Unknown with Rats. And then you have Cheetah run into Wonder Woman, which, for Rucka, the last time he wrote a scene with these two together was Wonder Woman, Volume 5, issue number 24, which is his last issue, which as when she turned back into Cheetah. Yep. I forgot to move that there. Although we're almost done. This book is a lot of fun. Oh yes, it is. It is so fun. Yeah. So, well, the challengers do with that, and of course, one of them was all ties up Cheetah. And if I guess, you don't want to break, holding will suffice. Just get a board. Resupply. I didn't do anything. You tie me up again and ask me. D. Yeah, and then of course she is this holding cell, and of course she scratches the thing, and then she just, and then she looks at Leanne, just smiles, gives a wink, and takes her tongue out of her, and the whole thing is stealing from there, and then we have them breaking in, of course, and then we have Phantom Zone Prison Gate, where then we have Wonder Woman with Carol Ferris. Interesting, these two working together in a scene together, which I think this first time Rucka's ever written Carol Ferris down, because I don't think he's ever in Carol before. So we have Renee just chatting with Leanne, and then Nightwing is there with Starfire and the frickin' Monkey King. Like, wow, that was a weird cameo. Monkey King. I think this first time anyone I think I've seen since this short-lived series, because he was a character DC. I think DC tried to force people, but it didn't work. The book didn't sell very well. Lego Justice Limited Series, Image released the whole thing. So then Leanne Freezer, and of course then we have this power thing, and they teleport, and of course Justice League show up, where it's just Donna, Firestorm, Donna, Miss Martian. We do see. I think this is. I can't tell by the costume. I think that's Tim. Yeah, because it can't be Dame, because Damien's not wearing that costume. I think it's Tim. It's Tim with Jafar, basically the Titans. And then we have basically like they got the power thing, and then they teleport to where the villains are, and then we have big brawl. We also have Satana here. Excuse me. Yeah, I'm looking closer at this particular Robin. I think this might be Damien, but he's wearing the wrong costume. Yeah, if that's supposed to be Damien, that's the wrong costume, because that's not his current costume. We have the whole power broker thing. We have a fight between just like these group of villains. And then, of course, teleporting in the pool. Just why not? But they did steal something. And then, of course, looking at the trophy room. And what did they steal? Okay, they stole a bunch of gold. They stole a bunch of Starros, some tubes from a Brainiac ship, a skull, a helmet. Looks like a piece of Lex's war suit. A hand, an amulet. Really good treasure trove. And apparently everything was just dumped in the circle. Like, why not? Everything worth a lot of money. And of course, apparently, like, somebody's eating her, and then they take all the cut of the loot, and everybody splits up. And then we have an appearance here by this thing called the Onslaught, I think it's called, where I think Cheetah just summons him by pure randomness. He does get killed off this issue. He's like, he's a character of Wonder Woman. He gets killed off here. And then by the end of the issue, Barbara is human again. And she's naked. Yes. Yeah, and I do appreciate the fact that Nicola draw her where she's not showing her butt crack or showing any of her chest. Because she's clearly naked and it gets double look at her. Overall, this was a great miniseries, and I do recommend people are fans of these two characters. I should probably would definitely enjoy this. I mean, I don't know if my friend Tivy has ever reviewed this book or not. I hope he has, because Tivy, if you get a chance to do this book, you would love, because you have Leanne here, you have Keller and the Witch Boy, Cheshire, Leanne, obviously. You know, all these really cool characters. But I think that probably anybody reading this book, like, really? Bunker? Jaime Reyes? Like, the cameos are interesting. And it's a great side miniseries to the main Justice League book. Now, Cheetah, of course, is not currently featured in Wonder Woman. No, she is not, that I know of. I think she may have been featured once in this current run. I think in like one story arc. I'm looking at Basic Up right now. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, in the current run, she's appeared in a handful of issues. And here's some interesting facts about Bar Minerva. So, that she's listed as, she made the top 10 speedster racings in 50, 6th fastest person in DC Universe, and makes the fastest one in DCU. Apparently, in their Rebirth era, Bar Minerva and Eda Candy were a couple. Yes. Apparently they were. Which... And also... Okay, here's something else. So, Bar Minerva is madly in love with Diana. And envy blurs her vision. And this according to a blog that Greg Rucka wrote. Yeah. So apparently it's in this book that apparently, so with the Wonder Woman Year 1 storyline, she was 31. Yes. The story that's set in the present day for Rebirth. Yeah, 31 years old. So, interesting. Apparently at some point she knew Cheshire. I don't remember these two ever interacting before pre-Flashpoint. Yeah, it's not exactly very clear of exactly when these two interacted before. And in this book, like, oh, these two somehow know each other. Somehow. It's not very clear. It just by sheer randomness, these two just happen to run into each other. But this miniseries was fantastic. Yeah, Greg Rucka and Nicola Scott, great job. Yeah, and the whole thing with Minerva, where she is, it's like implying the fact that the Cheetah is a lesbian. Which, little thing interesting about Cheetah in pre-Flashpoint. Did you know she once had a one-night stand with Snapper Carr? Yes, she did. And you're like, really? They... Yeah, it just... Yeah, I'm sure this is... The whole thing of, like, making Cheetah a lesbian, that's completely new. But in the case of Barbara Minerva, for those of you curious, though, when in the world did she sleep with... It's something interesting. So, apparently, pre-Flashpoint, she once tried to sexually assault Wally West. And you're like, what? Yeah. Oh, by the way, guess who wrote that issue? Wonder Woman 214. Greg Rucka. Yes. And you're thinking, Rucka has some weird ideas for Barbara Minerva Cheetah. Yeah, he does. It seems like he frickin' does. It seems like he's like obsessed with having her do some of the most weirdest things. The way that he wrote Cheetah in this book was that he didn't have her do anything to Leanne. No. He sort of basically wrote Leanne as sort of like her relationship with Leanne in the book. I think it's more of like... She acts more like a big sister to her. That's the way I can tell by the book itself. I mean, in the book itself, like... It just seems as though that Cheetah wants to do something else with Wonder Woman in the book. I'm sure probably Rucka wrote Wonder Woman in the book probably because he wrote the character before twice. But a lot of the characters in this book he never wrote before that I know of. Obviously he wrote Batman before. Superman, yes. Now, Bunker, this is the first I could think of as a comic featuring him. Or the Blue Beetle. A lot of the characters in this book basically are first time for him. Like Cheshire. I don't think he's ever worked with her before that I could think of. No. But, you know what person is missing from this book? That will be very interesting if he actually include him. Roy Harper. Yeah, he's not here. Nope. We have various Titans here. We have Nightwing. We have Starfire. Like the current Titan team. The one that they have currently in the main Titans book right now. But Roy is not here. You know, also is not in this book. Green Arrow. Yeah, he's not here. But I do appreciate him including Wonder Woman, which is good on him for doing that. There are characters in the book that I kind of thought this should have been here, but they weren't. Etchugadima was clearly not here. Do you know who else wasn't here? John Constantine, Captain Marvel. Yeah, he wasn't here. I'm guessing it's probably because he wanted to limit the appearances. But it's just a fun heist book. Yeah, and despite the fact having like a team mostly made of women plus like one guy, you would think Caloran would do something to one of these. It clearly looks like the way he wrote Caloran is that he had a thing for Ilea, Raz's granddaughter. It's kind of written that he does, and it's fine because she's basically kind of like mostly. It's very he does look like even though he's like 1,000 years old, but I'm sure probably he doesn't want to do anything at the moment per se. But sadly, put a lot of the characters in this book hadn't appeared since then. Like I think as far as I can tell, I don't think Cheetah. Okay, so apparently, the guy who got killed out this book, who basically Rucka brought in, who is Erstiga, who was apparently married the Cheetah at some point. Yeah, he got killed off this book. I'm guessing the reason why Rucker killed him off because, well, when these books come out, you gotta kill off somebody, and kill off a character Rucker brought in. He was not technically the one who created this character. No, he did not. It was George Perez. And basically, it was a plant. Yes. So, Barb Minerva married a plant. Yeah, and if you see the big creature, if you see this guy in the book, he looks like an evil swamp thing. I would not be surprised if Nicola Scott basically drew him like that. Actually, Liam Sharp did it. I would not be surprised if they basically drew him like that on purpose. But the thing is, he did not appear very much prior to his death. Oh no, he mostly appeared in Wonder Woman, and then he returned in this book. My guess is because it was to loose end with the character. Though part of this, he did appear in the book when Rucker was not in the book, was Steve Orlando in the book. That was the last time he appeared prior to this miniseries coming out. So his last appearance was back in December 2019 when Steve Orlando wrote the book. Cheetah's book too, but this last issue. So it was January 26th. It was January this year, and this last issue was released in December. So this was the first time about 6 years he featured. Yes, 6. Cheetah, of course. Well, she, of course, basically was last featured in Wonder Woman when Tom King wrote. Basically, Tom King is, well, still writing the book. But that was the last time she was seen, which was in Wonder Woman Volume 6, issue number 18. That was the last time she's featured, which was not that too long prior to this, but then, like, she appeared in this miniseries, and I think the next thing she appeared in she was featuring KO a little bit, but she's not been doing a lot per se, and that's not the character's fault. That's DC's fault for that. Who is a great character. I kind of wish DC do more with her, but they just haven't done anything with her yet. Okay, so that's pretty much it for the particular video. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications. So, gonna do my stream, but I'm gonna basic work on Dance Requirements of Slime and more episodes of Kamen Rider 5s. Okay, next video. Bye.